Peace and happiness for everyone. Horeini Adonai darkecha, teach me Hashem your ways. Parashat Sh'mini, Tafshin Pei Gimel. We have recently lost in terror attacks 2 brothers, young children, 2 other brothers, adults, and now on Pesach, the women of the D family, a mother and 2 daughters, 2 sisters. We come to Parashat Sh'mini, where we read about 2 brothers, Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron HaKohen, who are killed on the day of Chanukat HaMishkan, the inauguration of the Mishkan. And then Moshe says to Aaron, this is what Hashem spoke when he said, I will be sanctified through those near to me, Bikrovaya Kadesh, and before all the people I will be glorified. Vayidom Aharon. Aharon was silent. What is the meaning of the silence of Aharon? Commentators have different interpretations of this, and it's very worthy of looking into the details. But right now, I'd just like to comment that that's what silence is about. It's not stating clearly what it is saying. And after this Shabbat, we have 2 days of commemoration, remembering the people, the Jews murdered in the Shoah, and remembering the fallen soldiers and people killed in general in terror attacks. On these days, we have a siren, during the time of the siren, when we hear the siren, we stand silently. There are those religious people who oppose to standing silently during the siren sounding because it's not an original Jewish custom and maybe for other reasons, but it's interesting to note that here in this week's parasha, we see Vayidom Aharon. Aharon stood in silence. There are different kinds of silence in the world. Some of them may be negative, maybe even causing damage. But there is silence that is very respectful and is very worthy. The Rabbi Yaakov, the son of Rabbeinu Asher, in his commentary, Baal HaTurim, compares Vayidom Aharon to another place. There are only 2 other places in Tanakh that use the word Vayidom. One of them is in Sefer Yoshua, when Yoshua is going to war against the Canaanites, and he says the sun should stand still. Vayidom hashemesh ve'yareach amad, and the sun stood still. Vayidom hashemesh. Vayidom can be silence, can be passive, but it can be making a tremendous, powerful statement without words. When the sun stood still, this is something amazing that the world notices. It's making a tremendous impression on the world. Vayidom Aharon can be very powerful. Our silence in the face of death, in the face of terror, in the face of another terror attack and another one, the silence of Aharon in the face of the death of his sons can be making a very powerful statement. When we stand on Yom HaShoah, we might be saying, wow, we are noticing Jewish history, the ups and the downs, the dark days and the days that are full of light. We are not letting them pass by without thinking of the meaning of it, and we remember all those millions of Jews who were murdered in the Shoah. When we come to the day of the fallen soldiers, Yom HaZikaron Lechalelei Tzahal, we remember them. We don't forget them. The state continues. Medinat Yisrael continues. Am Yisrael continues. We celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut. We have the gift of Medinat Yisrael. But that doesn't mean that we, God forbid, forget the Jews murdered in the Shoah. It doesn't mean that we forget the fallen soldiers. Chas v'shalom, God forbid, we don't forget them. Also in Parashat Sh'mini, the inauguration of the Mishkan continues. One of the korbanot, the sacrifices, is not eaten by Aharon and his living sons because they are in this moment of mourning, but the inauguration of the Mishkan continues because it is part of the mission of Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael's mission must continue. But it doesn't mean that we ignore the things that we've gone through and we don't ignore the people murdered in the different incidents. We look up to them. We are in awe of their sacrifice. They teach us something about Hashem's presence in the world, how Hashem runs the world. There are so many different messages that we learn from them. We learn about freedom of choice. We learn about sacrifice. We learn about the meaning of kibbutz galuyot, the gathering of the exiles, and the meaning of Medinat Yisrael. All of these are very, very important. It's not the detailed message that we're giving, it's thinking about these things that is the meaning of standing in silence. And these are very powerful and important messages. All of these are part of the silence, can be part of the silence of Aharon. Can be, when you go to comfort a family of someone who's deceased, anytime in Shiva, certainly when it's a tragic death like those that we've experienced recently, sometimes you have good words to offer to the family. Sometimes, as we've seen, these amazing families have positive messages to give to everyone else, but sometimes we don't have what to say. But being there with them is saying, we are with you. We have not forgotten. We are going to try and be worthy of the sacrifices that were made. And all of these are positive, powerful messages in their silence and in our silence. And may we know days of happiness and of Besarot Tovot, of good messages and good, happy occurrences in Am Yisrael. And may we be worthy of the sacrifices that have been made. And may we have a Shabbat Shalom.